Yes, people, what's going on? Welcome back to United View. Welcome back to the red carpet. And listen, the carpet is full. Yeah, the carpet is rammed today. Everyone's stepping out. Yeah, all the stars are out. What do they say in the Oscars and the BAFTAs and all them things? The stars are out, mate. They're all on the red carpet. All the paparazzi are there. Everyone's posing for pictures. It is rammed on the red carpet today. Shout out to James. Shout out to Dev. Shout out to Minna. Shout out to Alice. Shout out to Owen. Apparently, Mr. Marcel, I was going to say Mr. Marcel, the comedian, then actually, which it's both of those two. Wally.
Accurate. Yeah.
But they're on their way in, so the red carpet's about to get even more full. So big up to each and every single one of you watching. Smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channels if you are new, and remember to subscribe and show love to everybody's channels. If you don't know by now, then I don't know where you've been, but the links are in the video description for everybody's channels and socials and everything what everyone's doing. Go and show big love to what everybody's doing as well, and drop a like on their content, and obviously subscribe to their channels and follow them on the socials. We got a big show today, man, because we're going to talk about the latest on the Bruno transfer debate, how we're all feeling about it, where we're all at with that, and of course the hunt for a striker must continue. And today we've been linked with not the Alexander that maybe everyone thought, well, no one thought was going to get his sack, to be fair, but you get what my point is. It's Alexander Mitrovic is who we've got as a link. And yeah, that's met with a lot of talk online about what's going on. So let's get into this. I feel like I've said a lot recently. You know, everyone knows my kind of thing on the Bruno thing. Minna football. Some people were trying to say Minna had a Leeds shirt on, but you know, if you know your football, you know it's not a Leeds shirt. Tell them Minna, you know, it's Palmer and that, you know. It's not that. Yeah, some of the comments were saying, oh, like, I heard Minna's got some top on that's a bit like Leeds. I don't know.
Are the comments on the stream with us right now? I think
no, because they saw you doing other streaming earlier, so they transferred over. So yeah,
you're trying to bring me down with your Rico case. Stop it.
No, listen. Yeah, well, you know, it's a case that you haven't even seen evidence. You've made up your mind. So
you know, that's what it sounds like.
You know, I don't know how you've come to a conclusion when you haven't even seen the evidence or what even the charges.
I don't need to see the evidence. I know you're guilty.
Character assassination, no problem. Okay. Just deciding that I'm guilty, and you know that hurts. It hurts.
Shut the whole channel down. That's what he's gonna say. I'm gonna shut the whole channel
down. But what are you saying, man? What are you saying on this Bruno thing, Saudi thing? Listen, I know you're massive on the Saudi football. I know you know your stuff. Obviously, we know you know your stuff. What's Minna football saying about this, man?
I hate the fact that a lot of United's waiting on his decision to move in the transfer window. One player's future shouldn't decide the fate of your whole transfer window. But I get it; it's a big decision for Bruno, number one. So I understand that he's taking his time with it, and I rate Bruno a little bit because he kind of planted the seed in everybody's head. Like, no one's going to accuse Bruno Fernandes, if he leaves to Saudi, of being a money grabber, someone, you know, that is doing it for the paycheck. Because after the Europa League final, he came out and said, well, if they want to sell me because they need money, you know, it's football at the end of the day. So I feel like he kind of planted that seed in everybody's head. And I've never seen so many people divided on the decision of Bruno. Like, I feel like with Onana, the court is out. I feel like with HOJLUND, you know, the jury's out. With Bruno, it's just so split. Like, I'm so shocked at it. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm in two parts about it as well. But one thing I will say is that we have to be realistic about if he does decide to go, what's the fee that United could get? Because Saudi Pro League, they don't provide, you know, extravagant transfer fees to entice teams to sell. They provide extravagant wages to entice the players to want to come. So historically, the most expensive player they brought was Neymar at 90 million euros. Then it was Duran. And then after that, it's like pretty much 50, 40, 30 million. Some of the players in there questionable, you know, Fabinho, latter stages of his career, leaving Liverpool, 45 million euros. This idea that, you know, United can get 150 million, let's put that to the side.
Yeah, not 150.
130, 120, even 100 million pounds, I think is pushing it a little bit. I actually think it's a push. Not that he is not worth that, but it's about what they are willing to pay. And they have Al Hilal have heaps of money, but they're not just spending it. They're not just spending it on bringing Bruno in. They're obviously bringing in other players. I'm just annoyed that Man United's transfer window of income is dependent on that. And I don't know if you guys are aware, but if United do sell Bruno, does that mean a lot of other players might not have to get sold? or is
there's more than
if they sell him for a lot of money? If they sell him for 80-90 million, does that mean, you know, other players United might look to just send them on loan, like for example HOJLUND or Anthony, rather than trying to sell them and get them off the books? I'm watching Liverpool and City doing a madness right now in the transfer window, and I'm just here twiddling my fingers, waiting, thinking, when is it our turn?
Don't worry, minute, we got one through the door already, man. Don't worry, you know what I mean? We've confirmed before it even
we did
opened,
announce Cunha. That's
I can't lie. Off the back of the season we just had, no one should be excited about one side.
Minimum. Yeah, it's minimum.
No one should be excited about it.
But before we open up,
That's
just
how I've been
like in terms of, yeah, I hear that. Just before we open up, minute, like, what's your thing on like what you actually think should happen though? Like, if you could choose, are you saying like, nah, man, we can't afford to turn that sort of money down, or you're like, how can we sell our best player when we're trying to, you know what I mean, move forward?
I think we should. If it was me, I'd let him go. But because we talk about two things here, we talk about culture change at Man United, we talk about rebuilds. But when they're both staring us in the face, everybody shies away from it and everyone runs away from it because it's their favorite player. You know, I'm seeing players putting up their middle fingers at fans in Malaysia, and because it's their favorite players, they're making excuses for it. But we're talking about the cultural problems of Manchester United and the dressing room toxicity. And the same with a rebuild. We talk about this rebuild and everyone wants to bring up, Ragnick said open heart surgery. We're undergoing a second open heart surgery right now. And, you know, something has to give. So, yes, I would absolutely sell Bruno for that. Like 80-90 million, I'll sell him and reinvest. One thing I will say is, though, it doesn't have to be a like-for-like replacement. Like, if Man United were to take 80-90 million and say, you know what, we can buy 3 players with this because we can amortize the costs across our accounts, and we can bring in 3 different players and a midfielder and maybe, you know, another attacker and maybe a goalkeeper, I'd be absolutely happy with that, as long as it's players that increase the ceiling and the level of Manchester United, because for far too long we've been talking about players being, you know, ceiling raisers. We need more than ceiling. I need heaven raisers. I need people that are going to take us to heaven. I don't want a ceiling raiser. I need someone like people that are going to be 10 out of 10 consistently. So yeah, I'd sell.
Yeah, the wrap up Heaven says, facts minute, just bring in good quality ballers. Couple of super chats straight away. Joe Fleming says, give me Ollie Watkins for 2 to 3 years. Stop pissing about. Joe Fleming also says, Mitrovic, oh, for F's sake, is there even any point anymore? Shout out KG, Gary, the comedian. He's just stepped in as well. Oh, he's just stepped out. He's just stepped out. He's just stepped out. And I swear to you, that wasn't me just trying to play games. I was literally just bigging him up for entering into the chat. Going to say, go show love to the channel. And he stepped out and he's saying, not yet, not yet. I can see him in the back. So just like Red Baron says, it's all KG's fault. It's all KG's fault. Usually is. Alice, we haven't heard from you for a hot minute, man. What are you saying? What are you saying on this Bruno stuff?
Do you know what? It's difficult because I don't trust this club. And I think that this transfer window we just had under Ineos has probably been our best transfer window in recent years. Like, I trust the people Ineos have brought in a lot more than Murta, Woodward, those of the past. But I just don't know how I trust Man United to reinvest the funds. Like, I'm not the most convinced by names like Ederson in midfield. I feel like we need someone who's going to take care of the ball. You know, and Mbuemo would be brilliant because he gets the goals, he gets the assists. You know, I know realistically we just have to, like, have lower standards this window, you know, but not in the Champions League. It's, for me, I would want 120 million for Bruno. I would push it. I really would. If you can give him, if you can pay him 200 million pounds, I'll push the fee to 120 million. It's, for me, the one thing that worries me is obviously Rashford's going, Garnacho's basically gone, and Bruno in the same window. They are, whether you like them or not, our 3 best players are getting goal contributions statistically, and we haven't got many goals. And it's like, obviously Cunha's going to come in, he gets good GA, and Mbuemo's going to come in. It's not all about GA, it's about the system. But it is like the play, other than Ahmad, you know, this, you know, we need maybe a little bit more. Obviously Cunha coming in is great. That's my only worry. Like, losing, particularly Rashford and Garnacho both being runners, I feel like we need to bring in someone that's going to run in behind in. We obviously need like 2 players to replace Bruno. Like, the force is so mixed because I think we need a goalkeeper. I think we probably need another defender for depth. We need a midfielder that can take care of the ball. And I think that's quite a big priority that, you know, I think it's a bigger priority than people think. We obviously need a striker and we obviously need another number 10. And if selling Bruno is going to raise the funds for 5 good signings, then I'm sort of open to it, 120 million. But it's, who do we sign? Like, if I know Ineos, they're going to get this spot on and we're going to bring in this player, and they're going to hit the ground running, let's do it. But if it's like, oh, we'll bring Ederson in and we'll bring this player in, and we're all not convinced by this player, then I'm just nervous how we're going to spend the money. Like, I trust Ineos more than Murta would the people in the past, but there's definitely, you know, some question marks around what are we going to do. And Mbuemo and Cunha would be an unreal start, though. I can't lie.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it would be a fantastic start. Shout out to Mr. Marcel. He's in the building. He's there. Scarf ready. You know what I'm saying? Shout out Marcel.
Red Riding Hood.
Yeah. He's there, bro. Let's open up the floor. Dev, what you saying on this, man? And then, you know, James, KG, Marcel, you know, feel free to step in. I know there's a lot of us, so obviously we'll try and keep it so it's not all crazy, but step in, guys. Step in. What are you saying, Dev?
Yeah, to be fair, like I think Alison Miller have made every single point that I can really think of and made it well. So I didn't know about the Neymar being the most expensive deal either. So that kind of changes my expectations on what we can get for Bruno. But I think the one phrase I keep going over my head is what Fabrizio Romano said yesterday, and it's like they will do whatever they can to get Bruno Fernandes, but also do whatever they can to get him out of Manchester United. And if that is the case, bleed them dry. Like whatever the fee is, let it be the maximum amount that we can get for him. And I think I would, you know, I'm conflicted obviously because I love Bruno and what he's given to the club. But if he wasn't 31 years old, I think I'd be a lot more in the staying side than I would be like letting him go. And also, you know, for someone like him who, you know, we hear routinely about the things he's done off the pitch in terms of his captaincy and the way he like carries himself around the club and what he does for the people that Ineos themselves have kind of cast aside at times. It's like, you know, you're a good lad, you got a good family. I'm thinking this is multi-generational money over 2 or 3 years, like with the, you know, the tax implications and everything compared to here. I'm not saying he's struggling now on 250k a week, but it is what it is. And I think that's the one thing that has been slightly missed, is that if we do whatever we get for him, let it be a good fee. And I think it will be either around the Neymar fee or maybe a bit higher, because the output is more consistent probably from Bruno now as a Premier League player than over and what he was doing at PSG in the last season he was there. But that's also 250k off the wage bill straight away. And it's it's the cleanest possible break. And if we miss out on it now, you're not getting that ever again. It's now or never. You're never gonna recoup that kind of fee later down the line. And Minna makes a great point about the amortization of the fees. Like, one thing I'll say about Ineos is like they've not only recognized what's wrong, and have taken, whether it's good or not, decisive action over certain elements of it, but they've done it in a way which won't impact the overall future of the club, where we're going to be saddled with the likes of the players that they have to be saddled with. Like, I don't think in the next few years we're going to be looking at players like, oh, we just cannot physically get rid of them, because we're probably going to be paying over the amortization, paying a small amount compared to what we were expected to pay in that time. And it'll be easier to move all of the players that we signed this summer. Not this summer, because it's difficult summer to summer, but next summer, they are easier to move than some of the players we bought 3 summers ago. And, you know, I do think that there are good options on the market. I feel like this transfer window is a weird one because it feels like a domino. Like, when one falls, like a lot of them are going to. Now that Delap's gone to Chelsea, for example, all of the striker nonsense has started coming out, and we'll get to Mitrovic. That's never going to happen. I'll hang my hat on it now. We're not signing Mitrovic because, 1, it's a dumb signing. 2, it's 40 million quid, and that's more than the Delap deal. And it's like, you expect me to believe that all of a sudden we go from a 30 million release clause paid over installments probably to a relegation player who was like, I don't know, like in his early 20s, but has some good Premier League experience, to a guy who has been routinely labelled a bit of a maverick or a bit of an awkward person to deal with. I think he got sent off against us for almost nutting someone like when he was at Fulham. Yeah. It's like that's not going off. Yeah, that's not going to happen. And for 40 million quid, that's probably double the wages of what Delap was going to be. So I think it's just lazy journalism, and I don't think it's ever going to happen. But to kind of go on Alice's point, like, if it was Murta and Arnold, keep Bruno with everything you can. Strap him in, don't let him go, because they cannot spend the money. Whereas Ineos, I think they can spend the money quite well. And I don't mean just on, you know, 4 or 5 solid players for like amortized, like let's say 20 million per window that we give them a contract for, or 10. But also with the youth players. Like I think they've done brilliant youth recruitment since they walked in. That's the one thing I can hang my hat on and say, you know what?
Yeah, there's been a clear difference.
Every youth player you've brought in has been brilliant. Like, as in, well, not brilliant for the club just yet, but I can see why you've done it, and I'd be annoyed if anyone else had done it. So, you know, looking at City buying Reinders and Ait-Nouri now and all this, it hurts. And looking at Liverpool getting Verts and all this, but there's always that little thing. There's always that little thing in my head where it's like, no matter what happens, I don't want a like-for-like Bruno replacement, because I don't think one exists for the money. And also, we need to actually get to a point where we're not. I think Bruno has gotten the stats because he's brilliant, but also because he shoulders all of the responsibility in the squad. If you then take him out, let's say, you bring in some solid players like Acuna or like whoever, who can take on that part of that responsibility too. Not only do you share that across everybody, but you future-proof the squad. Bruno's got about 2 or 3 years left at this level, I reckon. 34, 35 to do 38 goals and assists per season. I don't think it will happen. De Bruyne couldn't even do that. So I think genuinely you get a good few amount of players in, you future-proof us for 8 to 10 years. I think Ineos, that's how they have been thinking this whole time. And like I say, just one more on the Mitrovic deal. The oldest player they brought in was Mazraoui for 12 million. He's 27. They're not spending 40 on Mitrovic. I think we need to get rid of that. But I trust them, and I think it makes an annoying amount of sense, and I kind of wish it.
They're not gonna. I can't see. Yeah, I can't. The Mitrovic. I mean, we'll talk about that in a bit more depth later. But I'm not too sure about that one. Stinker and Hook says Saudi bid 90 million for Mitoma. Give me at least 120 mil for Bruno. Of course, the obvious thing with that is like Mitoma's a lot younger, is the obvious thing, but quality
access to the Asian market as well. Like the Asian market with Mitoma.
Yeah, exactly. So there's different caveats to why they bid that. Also, what we do know is, again, what Ben Jacobs told us when we spoke to him on Friday, that they have this money set aside from when they tried to get Salah. So this money needs to be used, because PIF Fund are basically going to say, well, why haven't you used this money? Where's your star signing, mate? Where is it? We give you this money. Where is it? They're going to kind of come on that. So we'll have to wait and see what goes on there. Marcel's had enough. I don't even know where he's gone. Gabor says, if you believe that Man United will sign Mitrovic from the Saudi League, you are a crackhead. Be careful, guys. Listen, we're in different shopping. I'm not trying to see that, but we're in different aisles, bro. We're in different aisles. KG's beard stylist says, when are we getting rid of this manager, guys? Watching PSG play via midfield and Alonso open to play in a style that suit his players says a lot. And Red Baron says, I've changed my mind on Onana. I used to be his biggest defender, but the way he lets in goals makes me nervous. Ripple effect across the team. Yeah. Red Baron's only just got there now. Okay, fair play. I thought this is a new revelation for you, bro. Fair play to Red Baron. Different times, we all notice things at different times. Owen Stylevice says 5 at the back is for mid-table teams. Wait, is that the aim now for Ineos? What a panel we have tonight. Well, again, I don't know, man, when you keep doing that narrative of, you can't play that, you can't play that. Conor O'Reilly says, I adore Bruno, but Fab says they'll do anything. So squeeze a British record, 115 million fee from them. For a nearly 31-year-old, you simply cannot refuse that, guys. And Anthony says, KG looks like a broken Man United. KG looks like a broken man. United have finished him, is what they're saying there. And Marcel's back in the chat. James, we'll pick up the pace a little bit on this Bruno thing, so everyone gets their say. But if that type of money comes in, surely we have to take it.
I think so. Or not. I think most people do think we should. And I don't think we need to, some people will take it because they'll say, oh, Bruno's shit, we got to get rid of him. But I think that's the wrong discussion. That's the wrong argument. And there's nothing in that really. But it's kind of like we've got a financial bailout here. United have been restricted because of the mistakes of the past for 15 years of mistakes, 20 years of mistakes, all the things that have led us to the situation that we are in now. It's kind of like we've got this chance where, here in the States, I don't know if they did something over there during COVID when businesses got shut down. They said, here's a bunch of free money, take it, get your business back up and running, and you don't have to give it back.
Furlough money. What was it?
Eat out to help out.
We had the
remember that?
Yeah, we had
just go and eat out anyway.
Yeah,
£10 vouchers.
But that's what we've got. We've got a free bit of money here to say, here's 100 million. You got to realize with the profit that it brings in, it's not just what you can do now. You have no restriction next summer, right? You have no restriction in January. So you go spend, you build through the season. You need something in January, an opportunity arises. Instead of running into January and saying we're screwed, we can't spend any money, we're looking for Weghorst on loan again. You can actually make deals. You can actually get something done. And you go into next summer without the same kind of restrictions, with a year of preparation financially to buy even more, because 100 million is not 100 million. You know what I mean? With the way that PSR works, it's a lot more than that and what you can do. So I think you have to consider it, because you're being given this opportunity to rebuild the club for real, to rebuild the squad for real. And like Alice pointed out, was totally correct in that Garnacho, Rashford, Bruno, those are your main goal scorers, your main contributors. That also means if you're going to rebuild, you might need to move all of them on to start to play a different way, to stop running everything through the same channels you've been for years and years and years. And that's not an insult to any of the individuals involved in that. But if you move in a different direction, as long as you have Bruno, it's going to be a Bruno team. So you have to make that decision. Is it a Bruno team, or are we just deciding now's the right time to build a different team, a new team? And it feels like it's the right time for that. I mean, you can't get any lower without getting relegated, and then we're having different discussions. So if you're going to do it, you're being offered the best chance to do it now. And so I think you've got to. And the other factor is in replacements, it's not about, as you said, not replacing one for one. You don't need to replace Bruno. You should have a plan. These are the next 10 signings we want to make. We just have more money to get through that plan, to just build this team. We just have more money to do it. And that's the way that we have to operate. And so I think it's the right thing, even though it feels not great. Nobody's like, I don't think anybody here wants Bruno out for that reason.
You posted
getting robbed.
Mbuemo news.
Yeah.
Talk to us about it a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, it's just moving. It's just moving. That's how it's been. I was talking about it the last time and keeping it down. It's just moving. It's just getting a little bit better. I think the biggest, I was saying last time, the biggest problem is Newcastle in this, but you have to understand this is one of the differences between United and Newcastle. It all comes down to the financials. If Newcastle go and spend 60 million on a player and they don't get Champions League next season, they have to start selling people off. If we go spend 60 million on a player and we don't get Champions League, we don't have to start selling those players off. We're okay because we're Manchester United as well. You talk about when you make a sale like Bruno, you've got space for years. So they're kind of holding it up a little bit. Do they want to spend that much on one guy, on their budget? Do they want to buy 2 players this window, or do they want to buy 5 with their money from the Champions League? So there's an opportunity there. And I could see it going a little bit the way of Lenny Yoro, even though it's a different player here, where United say, we're going to do it. Let's put the money in. And it pushes the competitive bids off the table, because they're just like, we're not ready to spend 60 million on one player, 55 million on one player. And then you've got the guy falling into your lap. So it's just become a bit more likely by the day based on everything that I've heard. And I think there's a real chance. I think we've got a real shot at it.
Being amazing.
Yeah, and to add to that, to add to what James was saying earlier, Ben Jacobs has gone one after what you were saying, because James said this way before, but Ben Jacobs was said an hour ago, Man United still intend to try for Bryan Mbuemo, even if Bruno Fernandes stays. He is one of their leading targets. Man United captain has been deliberating over the weekend, decision expected soon. Manchester United still insist they do not want to sell. Mbuemo has interest from Newcastle and Arsenal, but like Mateus Cunha, doesn't view European football next season as a deal breaker, making the race for his signature open. Brentford looking for 50 million plus. So, that's to even reestablish what James was.
And that's the key. And that's the key thing, isn't it? If they're saying that basically we're going up against Newcastle, if Bryan Mbuemo goes, well, it's not a deal breaker for me, European football, we're in that conversation. It's not like a Liam Delap one where at the moment that the full-time West went in the Europa League, it was like, we're not going to get him then, I guess. Same with some of these other players. And Mbuemo one might be on. It might be on.
Exactly.
Marcel, you said that we were getting robbed for Bruno. Care to expand?
Yeah, and in the sense that he's not worth 100 million. His value is 175 million pounds sterling. That is Bruno's price.
175.
175 million. That's his price to Manchester United.
The fact he said Sterling as well.
Whoa.
Early.
All right.
Also,
Early.
before Marcel continues with this, people will say this in the chat. People will say this in the chat. But Fabrizio Romano has just tweeted in the last few seconds. He understands that Inter Milan have made contact with Rasmus Højlund's camp in the recent days as talks have started for the Danish striker. A couple of days ago, Højlund is one of the main options on the Inter shortlist as well, along with a Parma player. That's why Minna wore the shirt. Clearly.
Yes, Minna. Shout out Minna.
But Rasmus Højlund to Inter Milan. Discuss.
Whoa. Yeah, good. We need to get like I've been saying for a long time in this particular window. And a rule of thumb when it comes to backing managers, outgoings is just as important, if not even more important, than bringing footballers in. Frees up space for the squad, allows the manager to get some money in to buy the exact type of profiles that he needs. So yeah, Højlund struggled. Højlund has really struggled, this season, and it just looks damning. Like and our predicament, like James has kind of alluded to. I'm assuming Alice as well, because I saw your tweet, Alice, by the way, brilliant tweet on Garnacho, just covering the whole feeling and the understanding of what he's produced and his level, his value to the football club, and in comparison to other younger talents, within world football as well, around his age mates, it kind of just puts into perspective that we're kind of being robbed again, really. We're not really good at selling footballers. That's just been our massive issue. And even though we're talking about one of the best footballers on the planet in Bruno Fernandes, I still feel like he's worth 175. He's nowhere 150.
But are we ever? But I know you say that. But are we ever? Gonna? You can say he's worth that, but are we ever gonna get that?
Don't ask Marcel if he's living in reality. Don't you dare. Okay, Marcel, we know this. Let's not go down this.
Like, how are we ever gonna get 175 million? Who's gonna ever?
So,
pay
Mr.
that?
Churchill, the reports are as such. The reports are as such. Obviously,
175 million. What are the reports on that?
No. You've assumed, you've jumped the gun. I haven't said what the reports are saying as such yet, but basically, what the reports are saying is that they're willing to pay whatever whatever it costs. They're willing to pay.
Yeah, but that's also hypothetical. We can't just say.
Am I wrong, Fleck?
I think they'll stop at 125.
So when the 100 million originally first got tabled, everybody, I would have been happily inviting them to Carrington, and then we have the big boy conversation about that price point. I'm at 175, you're at 100, so let's dance. Let's talk about this. And then you meet at 150, you shake the hand. You shake at 130, you shake the hand at these numbers, but you're getting robbed, in my opinion, still. But the predicament that we're in,
Bruno's 175 million pounds.
That's correct, Fleck. The thing is for us though, is we're in a dire situation. James has alluded to it as well. Like the situation that we're in, you can get rid of, Bruno, unfortunately. And by the way, no player is bigger than the football club. There's not one. When Ronaldo wasn't pressing, remember, I think Luis Enrique, I've just seen a clip of Luis Enrique grilling Kylian Mbappe. Killer forward, saying, your job, by the way, my friend, is the goalkeeper and the centre-back. Not just the centre-back to press, both of them. So Ronaldo wasn't doing that under Ten Hag. I was saying no player is bigger than the club. Get him out as soon as possible. It's so no one's bigger than the club. Bruno must.
So how does this? But these bits. How does this get to? He's 175 million though.
Well, Bruno must have his price. Is my point. He's not indispensable.
He's saying otherwise he's priceless, right? Like you're saying he's okay.
So what? Yeah, so what is it? Are you saying like because of his goals and his assists, it's like that is 175 million pound player? Is that what makes him?
In that football league, he can carry his team that he plays for another 6 years. In this football league, he can carry his football team for another 3 years. In this football league or in world football, he's producing Ballon d'Or level football. And he's been doing that for countless amount of seasons now. Goals and assists, more goals and assists. It's just ridiculous. So
the thing is, Max says there, to be fair, Marcel is right. When will we start ripping off teams? But you're not saying this is a rip-off. You're saying his market value. You're saying it's a robbery. You're not saying to rip off Al Hilal. You're saying they should pay what he's worth, which is 175 million. You're not saying this is a rip-off.
Yeah. Well, I know that they're going to bargain. They've got buckets load of money, but they're going to want to bargain and get a fair price. But you set your stall at 175 million pounds sterling. It's really simple. And then you go and then you work off that premise that it's 175 million. Thank you very much. If you want it, no questions asked. I push Bruno out the door myself. 175. But you're not going to do that. You're not going to do that. So, and I respect that. Let's meet at 150 and have a cup of tea over it. And that's how it works. That's how it's meant to work.
Like
so Saudi tea is nice as well, you know.
Exactly. so you know, we be sensible about. But the predicament that we're in, I was so desperate for money. Ruben's been so desperate in terms of team selection throughout the situations. You take 100 million and you look to revamp the squad. Like, we're talking about Omeritization. I enunciate words wrong, so you might correct me, Owen, if I've said it wrong, but it doesn't matter. But 2020, that can be 5 signings for your first year, or 3 20s. That's 3 top players for your first year. And then you think about the situation coming into the second year after you've built ticket sales, all these other wonderful things. So for me,
so after that, you're saying 100 mil's all right.
I'm robbed. I've been robbed for 75 million pounds, and I'm gonna moan about it all summer window. But I accept it.
All right. Okay. All right.
But I accept it.
So at 31, Bruno's 31 in September. We're never going to get the chance to sell him past this again. Like this, his value is only going to go down from here. It's never going to go above this. But you're saying we're getting robbed if we accept it.
Next year it's 125 mil, and I carry and Bruno Fernandes carries Saudi Football League teams for 5 Saudi League seasons.
Everything
carries them. Yeah. He carries the club, Fleck, on his back.
You know, you watch a lot of the Saudi League. Is this true? Is Bruno carrying?
They get the Saudi Scott, they get the Saudi Fred.
Al Hilal didn't win the title this year, but one thing I will say is that the last time they made an outrageous bid, do you not remember when they bidded 300 million euros for Mbappe for 1 year?
Yeah.
They wanted him for 1 year. If you think you could get 150 out of them, it's like squeezing water out of a stone. I don't think it's happening. I think, and I also think they are very aware that people see the Saudi league as a financial cash cow to get rid of their players, so they don't want to get taken for an idiot.
Yeah. KG the comedian. Step through. There's a lot happening here. There's a lot going on. I need to get into that KG mind.
You
I need to see
it's crazy because I'm thinking about finally. Can you hear me?
No, sorry, Marcel's gone. Yes,
I'm thinking about finally having. It's like you speak all these things into existence. Yeah, a war kitty might be pending. A war kitty for the first time. If you get rid, Bruno's going. That's the thing. I'm with you guys.
Wait, is he done? Is he gone?
Bruno's gone.
So you've seen this,
my family. Yeah, because he would have said no. He would have just Bruno would have done something about these rumors. It's our captain at the end of the day, and he's continuing a conversation, which means the conversation is interesting. The conversation has got enough for him to stay in it.
He wants to find out what's going on.
Anyone else, you would say at some point you shut that down and close it off. The captain is in full talks. So right now they're trying to hash out the perfect deal that suits his family, him. Where's he going to live? What schools his kid's going to go to? I think they're in that phase of conversation. And then he comes back to the club and says, hey guys, I'm out. That's why, because the conversation should have stopped by now. At least he would have committed his future to Man United and said, ready for next season, this, that, and the other. Kind of how Anthony has basically said, see you later, Robertis. You brought back the feeling of being a footballer and I feel like a star again. But bye. Bruno has to, as the captain of Man United, should have said, if he was not going, thank you very much for your interest, but I can't wait for next season to start. See you all at pre-season.
Yeah, he's definitely not saying that. Yeah.
We're not getting that, which is exactly the feeling of, well, negotiate, get the perfect terms. Because right now, the only reason he hasn't done that is because he's still trying to be wooed. He's still trying to get as much from the deal as possible. Now, I'm not where Marcel was on 175, but I hear the sentiment of how much he's asking for. Man United, Saudi can't say we're being ripped off. You've come for our captain. We haven't tried to offload a shit player to you. You've actually come for our best player and said, we want him. You got a game, you got a tournament that's about to start. You want the Saudi league to look like the place to go. The ball's in our court, as Ben Jacobs was saying. So I think we can raise that price tag. With the names that you're saying weren't connecting to Bruno. You're not telling me Tillemans is a Bruno. You're not telling me he named quite a few players. The only one that is scary is the Osimhen one.
If
you say Osimhen is That's scary. Like, what can you do? He's gonna do what Bruno was gonna do in terms of star quality.
Yeah.
So there is that. But yeah, I'm already in my head. This is happening. Get over it. Get the best deal for him. Hopefully, we get the money for Sancho. Hopefully, we get a good. Again, everyone said it with Alice's tweet yesterday about the Garnacho thing. Get good money for that. And to go with what Minna was saying, this is the reset that nobody wanted, but we're here now. And I think if you got rid of Rasmus, Bruno, Sancho, Rashford, you've literally started a whole new...
And Garnacho.
You started a whole new United. And didn't one of the players say a lot of players are going to be going? Was that Luke Shaw or someone? Or was it Maguire that says there's going to be a lot of change or something like that? So it's literally happening. We are literally in the midst of...
This is the open heart surgery. This is the one, like what Minister... Like you say you want it. When we get there, we're like, oh, maybe don't do this, maybe don't do that.
Transformation.
Yeah, I hear that.
We've never done it.
Literally.
Really
Everyone says like,
AJ said we got a BBL.
That
was Minna's. Let me not take the joke still. Minna said that we got a BBL.
Oh, was it Minna?
Yeah. Minna said
Yes,
we have to open our surgery and got a BBL. That's the man.
Just come back out with the wrong surgery. Move, man. Get the right surgery, man.
That's so good.
Yeah, I just think the Bruno thing
is crazy.
It's crazy. You gotta address it. You can't just come back with the wrong surgery, bro. Which is what our club is. For me, I've said quite a few times, it's just more indicative that Man United as a football club is not strong enough. We're not strong enough, or we're not in a strong enough position, should I say, to be like, Bruno, nah, untouchable, mate. I know this is the best time to sell him, but we're not really on that because we're trying to achieve some big things next year, trying to build on top of what we just did last year. So ain't selling our best players. It's like, well, how can we afford not to? This is Bruno for that. Like we have to. It's more fitting for that because I don't blame him. And many times I said the famous rip it up when I say it, like Minna touched on it. I've said rip it up for time, and I'm not wedded to any of these players in terms of like my favorites, this, that, and the other. I said anyone can get it. I said even if it's Bruno, even if it's this man, even if it's that man, if it has to happen for this cultural reset, this squad reset, then it has to happen, and we shouldn't be scared. I know the instant thing is, Alice, you did touch on it, and it has to be considered. Like, how are you replacing those goals? How are you replacing those assists? Because we tried to replace McTominay and Fred and Zlatan and all these different people, and you go, but the people you replace them with, we're still left with question marks, and we don't fix anything, right? I hear that, but at the same time, if it's done correctly, I agree with what everyone said about it's not about trying to find another Bruno Fernandes. You can't do it. You take this opportunity to spread that and go, right, here's a new goalkeeper. Here's a proper central midfielder. Here's a striker. Here's a this. And the team is just a different. It's just a different thing. It's not one guy who burdens all the responsibility.
Can I ask Minna and Alice this question? With the changes that we're looking to make, do you lot trust Ruben now? Because he's going to be given a team. He's going to be assembling a team in his own image with all these players apparently leaving. Do you think he can actually turn it around and make us better for next season? And how high do you reckon he could take us?
Oh, I've got mixed thoughts, to be honest, because for me, Ruben Amorim deserves a window. There's no doubt in my mind he deserves a window. He deserves a summer. I feel like the only way it's going to work is full reset. We've got to look up when he came into Sporting. I think he got 10 players out, 8 players in, won the league the next season. Obviously, that's not going to happen. We're not going to win the league next season. It's probably just about stabilising. Can we get back in that top 6? Can we look like a team that can push on the following season? I look at a lot of the games this season and I think, am I fully convinced by the system? Not 100%. Do I think he got outdone by Ange tactically in the final? Yes. But then I also look at many games when I actually thought both games against Forest, we did enough to win in those games, but we have HOJLUND up top and Onana in goal. And that is a consistent problem. And I think there's definitely a lack of quality in attack. I've got to take into account that he lost Xerxes, and Xerxes was our best attacker at the time he got injured. He lost Ahmad. Obviously, Rashford and Anthony didn't get replaced. We weren't scoring goals. I think defensively we're better under Amorim. I think it's going forward, and you've got to look at the players we're missing. So I'm very much in this mindset of let's just give Amorim who he wants this summer, get out who he needs to get out, get in who he wants to get in, because I feel like that's all we can do at this point because we've done so much and it's failed. I think we need that reset. There is a part of me that's going, is Maino going to work long term under Amorim? Like getting rid of Garnacho. What if we get a manager in next season that plays a 4-3-3 and Amorim doesn't work out? There's a lot of concerns. We haven't been good since Amorim has come in, and I'm not 100% convinced, but I feel like we've got to trust in Ineos's plan in the sense of they never got the guy they wanted in the summer. This is the guy they want. We've almost got to sort of put our trust in they have a plan. That's sort of how I am. But look, if this time next year we are crap, I think it's going to have to change if we've had a good summer. But yeah, concerns, but I think it's what we've got to do.
I don't really trust Ineos because they met with Amorim in the summer last year and then decided he wasn't the guy for the job and then still gave him the job a few months later. So I don't really trust their decision making, but I agree with some parts with what Alice said. One thing I will say about Amorim and just Ineos in general is that as long as United are buying players to play at Manchester United for long term rather than specifically for the now, then I can get behind their transfer window. If they are buying players with specific skill sets that Ruben Amorim wants, that's not really what I think should be the way that Manchester United should go. And when they gave Ruben Amorim a 2.5-year contract, for me, that kind of solidified the idea that they don't really trust in his vision, but they want to give him an opportunity to see if he can steady the ship and then maybe find a new kind of captain to lead it in the future. Do I think he's going to turn it around? No, I don't. I actually unfortunately don't. But I'm happy to eat my words if he adjusts. I think the biggest thing that I have is that I don't like the idea of this back three, mainly because what we've seen in the last 6 months wasn't really a back three, it was actually a back five. But if he's able to get in the number of players that he needs and he's able to play, with the wing backs and whatnot, and it's more so a back three rather than the back five that we've seen over the last 6 months, and he can get, regular results. I said this months ago, I didn't want to see Man United in Europe. I feel like I should be careful with what I put out because it's going to get accepted every single time. Yeah. But I don't. Yeah. I want to see Amorim with 1 game a week, your bread and butter, Premier League, cup games, adjust how you need to. And I just want to see results in the Premier League. Like I'm happy to watch United for the next season where we're not competing on all fronts. We're not competing in Europe. If we are getting results in the Premier League and we're playing a lot better, then I think as fans, naturally, we'll be able to get behind that. And there'll be a bit more faith instilled in the manager. But I'm not really looking at Amorim. I'm looking at Ineos because the chef is only as good as the ingredients he has in the kitchen. And if Ineos are going to provide him with the best of the ingredients that he can tweak in game, where if he's not playing with a back three or a back five and he needs to alternate tactically, etc., if they're providing him with those ingredients and he's failing to deliver, then I think it's all eyes on Amorim. But right now I think the eyes are on Ineos as much as it's on Amorim.
I'll say this, man, if we can change the goalkeeper and bring in a half decent striker like Mateta. I know the Gyökeres one, Atletico, just feels like we're asking for too much now. But if we could do something like that, oh man, I'd be.
Does that give you confidence then, KG? Then hearing that news earlier that Inter are talking to HOJLUND and he's the only recognised striker we've got. I mean, Xerxes this season we've established as a striker, it's a false 9, but actually in that system, he's better off in the 10. Or he could play as a false 9 if you've got 2 10s that score a lot of goals, i.e. Cunha and Mbuemo. Hearing that news, does that give you faith, KG, that actually United are going to sign?
Absolutely.
A striker this summer?
They have to realise, and we need more than one. And Mbuemo has the ability to play in the 9. He can do that as well. So that just gives you an option. But I don't want him to really be there. I would like to have a few that could play in that position. I'd like it to be, I'd love how Rasmus has played. He just needs to be out of the Premier League. He's only going to get worse. I think his confidence is whatever that was there as a player is now no longer there. Kind of like Anthony. I think he might return, but just not in this Premier League. I'm excited that they're making them decisions. Amorim has looked at this team and he knows we see him frustrated even when he's in Hong Kong. Like even on that tour, he just looked pissed off with everything. So he knows what to address it. Bring in these players, bring in a striker that is just can finish. Man United have too many opportunities, and there's games that we should have won. There's games that were a draw. There's the close games where we can change that, score first, make it difficult for them. I believe that we have really good centre backs. I love Aiden Heaven. I love Euro, Delit. These exciting players. So give me someone that they can believe in behind them, and then you can dream about Conference Europa. I think that's where we should be. And dreaming about Conference Europa is crazy. But
I was going to say that is a sentence.
No, but I have to be honest and say where we are. We have to be honest and say this is our level at the moment. If we could do more, I'd be impressed. But we're 15th.
Yeah, it's true. Let me get these super chats out. There's quite a few, but Owen take records cheeky. I think, did we get to that one? No, we haven't read that one. It was this one we got to. Trusting Ineos. Yeah. Dan says trusting Ineos is like trusting a wet fart. And Harry says, I think it's fair for people to have separation anxiety with a beloved player, but Bruno was going to leave / retire at some point. Now it helps us. Red Baron says, bet you, Owen, would like to take back Weghorst cheeky loan. No, Owen? Yes, Owen?
Not now. Depends what happens to the rest of the window.
So it's still a possibility, yeah? Cheeky Weghorst loan. Michael M says, terrified for next year. We'll sell Bruno and fail to bring in a strong 9. We are even worse. We have to add goals, not take them away. 2 strikers, please. Harry says the financial benefit Bruno leaving heavily outweighs the sentiment of him staying. We are in big financial trouble, more than we need Bruno. And Aboki says, HOJLUND contact, alhamdulillah, times 1,000. Wow. Roddy Dodge says, give me 120 million and I drive him to Saudi myself. M says 175 M's. Yeah, Marcel is on some strong stuff. Aboki says 175 mil. Marcel, stop it. Put the 120 million chips in the bag. And Biggie the Third says 175. They're on it from before. 175 million for Bruno. Someone needs to tell Marcel that the show comedy isn't a skit. Semek says, it's Saudi. Believe me, you can get 150 million. I have a lot of experience dealing with that region. Just don't ask for 200 million, which might be insulting. And Harmin P says, selling Bruno is the best thing to do right now. Same as Liverpool sold Coutinho. Fans weren't happy, but was the best thing for them for their rebuild. 120 million, make it happen. Eminem, been a member for 12 months. Big up to you. Thanks for the support. Eminem says, what scares me about Ruben, the negatives of his system in sporting are magnified in the Prem. If he didn't address it there, will he change it here? And Dio says, Ineos is getting someone into a placehold for Cheeto. And Biggie the Third says, I believe the manager could get more from this squad. Then it hit me. We call these players Deadwood for a reason. You can't squeeze water out of Deadwood. Amrim deserves more time to build a team. And Nessie's been a member for 35 months, which is insane. Big up to you, Nessie.
Is
that a picture of us in America? Oh, yeah, I remember that. I remember that, bro. Big up. Nessie says, HOJLUND and Xerxes had 7 Premier League goals combined. 7. Yeah, it's scary hours. Jonathan Hammond has gifted. He's back at it again. He's done it again. 5 UV memberships. Big up to you, Jonathan Hammond. Always on a madness. Always gifting. Always being generous, bro. And Mo says, Wilcox played for Leeds. Barada's from City. And Sir Jim's a Chelsea fan. No wonder why they pushed Ashworth out. A true red. We've let Wolves in. Dressed as sheep. Strong words from Mo. This Rasmus thing, Marcel, though. In the last sort of 20 minutes, we've seen Romano say, listen, Inter Milan have contacted his camp. Is that a very easy decision to make, or do you see something a bit differently here that we haven't maybe thought of?
Yeah, I mean, we saw Hong Kong. I think Cheeto bags 2 goals. I think a short period of time, and 2 good ones. He's in the right areas. He's creating chances for himself. I think he missed a couple opportunities as well.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, a couple shots on target.
Just within a short period of time, Fleck. So it's like HOJLUND just doesn't have that greediness, that hunger. I'm seeing him kick the post and all these things, but sometimes you just got to grips up your winger and say, give me the ball. I'm the priority here in this box. You have to demand these kind of things. Someone like Osimhen, I think KG was mentioning him. He's a bad man. You passing him the football. in that box. You're giving him the ball and he's going to deliver. You need that kind of arrogance, that kind of panache in certain areas of the pitch. He doesn't really have it, even though last season I saw him shoot with his left, score, shoot with his right, score. I don't know if he's a massive confidence player, but again, it's just in this time where we're suffering the way that we are, get me Mateta. That's going to hold up the ball 1,000% guaranteed against most players. Going to set it off. Mbuemo's there, Cunha's there, creative players that are not going to maybe give away the ball as much as Bruno, because I know that people have a problem with that. I don't personally, but they're going to dribble and carry and guarantee the yards up the pitch. So you need these kind of profiles and characteristics from certain types of players within this system for it to work the way that Ruben wants it to work. But in terms of HOJLUND, I think, the quicker we can kind of move him on and like what everyone's saying, get 2 forwards in, even if they're 2 basic Premier League forwards, I think it would just do us a world of good. And then
So you said 175 for Bruno. How much is Rasmus HOJLUND worth? Like, honest, like, just what's us not getting robbed, us robbing them, what could you be?
Bear in mind, they sold us Onana. They sold us Onana for nearly 50 million. So
yeah.
I would say we gave it. Then I mean, Ten Hag, who I'd love dearly, always said in that particular window that he was buying potential. So we can see kind of the potential in Rasmus. We can all see it. It's just at this pressure cooker of a football club in this difficult Premier League, even though he looks like a physical specimen, he's always hitting into players and he's not able to protect it. It's just it's like he's not come into his own yet. And when you see a 29-year-old HOJLUND that's willing to press till the end of time, got really nice striking technique, maybe he matures and understands the game a little bit better. But I would say 50 million, same as Garnacho right now. You just want to get them gone. 50 million. I think even with Garnacho, you got to have a sell-on clause.
Man. You're going to get 50 million.
You're lucky to get $30.
Well,
we're not going to get paid for him.
Jamaican.
How old is Rasmus? How old is he right now? How old is Rasmus?
I said Jamaican dollars. You're taking a piss.
I think
you know how weak the currency is, bro. You know how weak the Jamaican dollar is. Nah, I'm taking a piss.
Unless you put him on loan though and try to do
like an be a loan.
I think it
and see if he can rediscover something and then cash in, because he's got a long contract, so a loan can't hurt him.
50 mil, 45 mil, guys. I think
loan with a 40 to 45 million option to buy will be the most likely because of his book value. Like, I think we need 40 million plus. And there's still some people at Man United that believe in his potential. I remember The Athletic put out an article about the data and this and that. Like, I don't think Ruben Amorim rates him, but I do think there's people at Man United that maybe rate him. And it's like, I think ultimately I would sell HOJLUND, but I think selling him with the book value, would Inter be willing to give 45 million? Probably unlikely. I think it could be loan with option to buy, and even let's say he has an Antony level loan, at least could increase his value if Inter didn't even take up the option. I think he just has to get out of the Premier League. That's the most important thing.
Man United,
is he even getting in?
Man United
and Lautaro. Is that one of them best be moving? Because where's he? He ain't gonna play instead of them.
I mean, Italy's different though, man. Look at that.
Watching stuff at Atalanta. I watched it earlier today. I watched his highlights at Atalanta. I nearly cried.
Mad.
Do you know what's sad though? I say I'm upset. I'm genuinely upset about the HOJLUND one because I so thought on paper, I was like, what more could we want from a striker right now, especially with the one that's been flourishing under Amorim before? You got a big, stocky brute of a striker that at least last season, I mean, when we were in Europe, he had one of the best goals to game ratio in Europe somehow, even though we flopped out of it. He was one of our best performers. And when he, like Marcel was saying, he was scoring with left feet, right feet, he was going with his head. He had like a nice purple patch of form. I was like, I wasn't expecting like hundreds of goals to start pouring out of him, but I find it absolutely inexplicable that a system where you see a striker running in behind, running the channel, stretching the back line, and the man just out here grinding on his centre back. I don't get it. I genuinely don't. I don't even like. I'm dumbfounded at the reason why it hasn't worked out, because this can't be what he's been told to do.
It's Man United. You have to understand. Look at the amazing players that have come here and failed. Man United put Rasmus HOJLUND in the situation as the only striker. That's disgusting. That is a disgrace. Him leading the line, and even now, Chido's got like a little bit of pressure on him.
Exactly. We're going to do the same thing to that kid if we're not careful.
That none of these players should be playing with the level of pressure that is put on him. We're asking this kid to bring Man United back from the dead. And
we're not though, KG. We're asking Rasmus Højlund to be able to take a touch. He can't take a touch.
He's the only,
I mean,
he's
Hulk Højlund. If you've got a nickname of Hulk Højlund, something's gone massively wrong.
If I fail, no one else can. That's a problem. When as a young player, there should be people that should take the mantle. There should be 2 or 3 strikers that he should be learning from.
There's no one to learn from anywhere in that squad.
If he's getting through a bad patch, there should be someone he could turn to and then can say, listen, those goals will come, this, that, and the other. There's nothing. It's just him. And then after, you're in your head every performance.
By that logic,
MG, you were calling for Zexy's head after like 3 months, saying that United need to sell him. Yes. And then in that same breath, you're saying, oh, Højlund has no one to share the burden with.
No, but also by that logic, if the pressure's the problem, anyone he turned to, anyone he turned to will fail.
I would say I was wrong on Zexy. I've said
you said you still sell him the other day. You said you still sell him the other day.
No, I'll still sell him. These two.
I think KG, your point is right. Yeah, but
I was still so sexy, but it doesn't change the fact of Man United. You have to look at why so many players are shit here and leave and be successful. There is something fundamentally wrong with the club, guys, and it's the way we're setting players up. Players, managers, everyone fails here. We've turned Ruben into a managerial pariah in a space of 6 months. Do you know how difficult that is to do? We've done that. Man United, we couldn't wait to see him at this club. Now we don't even know if we want him. That just goes to show something is wrong with this club. That's how I feel. And
I don't really think it's just United though. When you come to strikers, like I did a whole piece on this a while back. Young strikers fail at big clubs always when they go there to be the man. They fail at such a high rate. You look at Chelsea; they have strikers fail every single year. It's not just United. These young number 9s, they come in, they fail. I mean, you can look at all of them. Vlahovic, Nunez, Højlund, Ramos, Jovic went to Madrid, he failed. You know, every time you get these young strikers.
Yes, I remember him. He was supposed to be the name that I just remembered. Where is he now?
Fiorentina as well. It's a similar type of move.
We just can't buy strikers at 22, 21, 20 years old. They cannot lead the line at big clubs, these young guys. You need the experience. It's like a goalkeeper. This the 2 positions. There's so much pressure on them on the pitch at both ends. They're so big. They make big mistakes and the pressure gets to them at any big club, at any top club that happens. So I think it's just a matter of we should be looking 25 and up just for experience when it comes to the striker. I'm not saying old. I'm not talking about Mitrovic, but I think when you look at the striker purchases that teams have made that are a bit older, they work. You know, so many of them work. You buy a guy at 25 to 28 years old for striker, it works out and it happens. I mean, the closest we got to a younger one was Lukaku, but he has so much experience in the Premier League before we bought him. So much experience. And he wasn't, you know, and he's gone and he's ended up back at Inter and he's been successful. He failed at Chelsea, you know, and then Inter and then Napoli. I think he's been successful at both clubs over there. So, you know, we just need to get somebody experienced for the number 9. And then you're right. Højlund should have been behind somebody else. He should have been behind somebody else. There's just no chance that they can make it. And that's why someone like Mateta does make a lot of sense to me to bring in.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree.
I think we need to go on, guys.
Well, no, you go first.
No, I was literally all I was going to say is I just think we need a proper striker, someone who's experienced. That's literally what I was going to say. So over to you.
Yeah, pretty much what I was going to say. But I think originally we wanted Harry Kane and Højlund, but we didn't have the finances for that. And I think had we been in a position where we had Harry Kane and Højlund, it could have definitely been different. Because if we look at Højlund's first season, it wasn't that bad his first season. Like, I backed him off the back of his first season, 16 goals, not a load of service. I know we went through a Premier League drought, but like his touch was better in his first season, his passing was better, his link-up play. We saw elements of Højlund in his first season, and I was like, you know what, I can get behind this guy. But he needs someone to come in and help him.
By the way, sorry to interrupt you, Alice, because we've got an Ornstein bomber.
Drop it, Owen! Drop it! Drop it!
The break.
Drop it! Drop it, Owen! Drop it!
Yeah, this is big. This is big. This is very big.
Drop it! Drop it now! Drop it!
You got it. What's going on? You got it. We got him.
Yes, indeed. Because David Ornstein just tweeted saying that Brian Mbuemo has decided he wants to join Manchester United. Manchester United are now expected to open talks with Brentford in a bid to sign a 25-year-old forward this summer. The likes of Arsenal, Newcastle, Spurs are all interested, but the Cameroon international favours Old Trafford if a deal can be agreed.
This is the one I wanted so badly.
Katie, you said it wasn't on the menu.
I told you it was coming.
James,
Hey, do you know what? I wanted
said it was on the
Tier
menu.
one James. Tier 1 James. Yeah,
Tier
Tier
one
1 James.
I wanted to James. Yeah, I wanted to call you midweek because I was like, I just wanted to speak to you about it. I've been seeing you tweeting, and I just wanted to call you and be like, James, please, because I'm so hurt and jaded. I couldn't even. This is more exciting than Cunha for me because I've got both of them. Imagine and Rasmus Leaford.
Sorry, are we deep in that tweet? By the way, are we deep in that tweet? The likes of AFC, I'm guessing that means Arsenal,
Yeah,
Newcastle,
down
and
a while
Tottenham
ago. Yeah,
were all
He
in
said
for
no.
him, and we got.
Hey,
No. Wait, Kuno
Hey.
Nabumo.
Goldbridge said it. Hey, Goldbridge said it's not happening. Goldbridge,
not happening.
Goldbridge, you gotta apologize, mate. You gotta apologize, mate. You said you know you've been there, you played the game. Apologize, mate.
That boy don't know. Oh, what a day!
Go on, James. Tier 1 James. Tier 1 James. Tier 1 James.
Wait, the lines are blowing
Nah,
off.
that's
It's all
mad.
kicking off. It's all kicking off.
Oh my
Sorry,
God.
Can we say, like, I'm sorry, did anyone expect to lose the Europa League final and then come out of it 2 weeks later, potentially confirming 2 Premier League proven, like, top attacking players who would, like, what, between them 30, like, I think between like 42 goals and assists or something, or maybe even more in the league?
But no, we gotta be honest here, guys. We're not moving quick enough in this window. Obviously, we're not moving quick enough in this window.
Oh my!
You know,
I'm going
We're
to
not
tell you
moving
something.
fast.
That's
We're
unreal.
not moving quick. We've already
Guys,
tried
this is
And
incredible.
Mbuemo have more
Go on,
GA
Alex.
combined this season than we have goals. Just the two of them. If you add up their GA, they got more GA combined than we have goals.
Oh my God!
Like,
No, this is
ten proven as well.
huge.
Oh my God! I can't.
I cannot
believe
wait for
it.
the people to be like, "Oh, where's Ahmad gonna play? Play them both." Oh.
They tried to laugh at me.
Hey.
They tried to laugh, bro.
Bro,
They
we
tried
have
to use it as where's expressions now? Where's expressions now, blood? Where are you now, blood? Jeez, bro. You're going to keep Andrew with your dead trophy. That's fine. But look at us, Fleck Mbuemo has come to save us.
I'm like,
Why are you
Fleck.
saying that?
Hey, wait, Flex. Imagine if we can complete the set. If we get Mateta, it's me. Mateta, Queen of Mateta, bro. In Bwims.
Wissa or Mateta
Bruno
rise.
Mateta,
Wissa or
bro.
Mateta rise.
Oh,
They all laugh.
my
They tried
God.
to use it as a cuss KG, but they didn't know it was going to be the
They didn't know
remontada.
those-
They didn't know.
They didn't know they were speaking into existence.
They didn't know.
Kuna Mateta, bro.
Oh my days.
Oh, please.
Ornstein bomber right off
Ornstein,
the
you
bat.
little dancer.
Good timing.
Wow.
That
Minna, what are
is
you saying on this? Minna, what are
mental.
you saying? Bring in Queen Miz. What are you
Yeah,
saying?
I'm looking forward to it, man. Just get it done and then on to the next one.
Yeah. Oh, Minna, chill, man. Oh, Minna,
Flex
chill.
level,
Minna.
that's too
This
much.
is the floor.
Relax.
Flex is on the floor.
Calm
Job's not
down.
done.
Nah,
Job's not
really?
done. Word to Kobe Bryant. Job's not done.
Yeah, fair.
I don't
Yeah.
believe it. He's signing, holding up the shirt,
But
mate.
wait,
You know what? Now, when Ornstein
I
says
might
it, I
owe
believe it,
Ineos
bro.
on an apology. Like I was
No,
cussing.
KG.
I was
Let's
cussing.
save it. Let's save
Like,
it. Let's save it.
KG,
Let's save
Two
it.
KG.
signings.
No, KG. This is where Minna's got a point. We've just
Let's get
finished
more.
15th. These man need to come.
We need like 6 starters, guys.
Yeah.
in the team,
Man,
like,
them.
5-6 starters.
Yeah.
Look what we
That's
done to
bad
the
part,
GA though. Look what we done to the GA.
Nah,
GA.
yeah, no, we have, but chill, just chill, like, just
I'm
not yet.
chilling.
not
I
yet.
can't even chill. This one's the one.
Yeah, I
that-
can't chill either. I can't chill again. Webs. Hey, wait there. Wait, did Onana play a part in this?
Nah.
Fucking get him out.
I told you it might
Actually,
be
really
doing a
feel like
little bit
KG.
of work.
Nah, James.
Wait,
that's literally
James,
predicted
actually,
it.
let's talk to James. James,
Um,
wait.
No, but James
James-
was
that
giving
from
you
the
lot
get-go.
subliminals, guys, throughout the whole stream about
Yeah,
it. He
yeah,
was telling
he
you
was.
stuff, and you lot weren't listening. He was basically.
Nah, we
hinting
was
at
minute. We
He
everyone.
was
still
listening.
there. We
I'm
backed
trying to
it up.
call
We-
James for time.
Double time. James, what? Like, James, without obviously, you can't not ask you to reveal sources. Never asked the man that, yeah. But like, what is this? Is this what you was? You be honest. Was you expecting this tonight, or was it like you're? A bit
I wasn't
surprised it's
expecting
quick,
it to be
but-
this quick. I was told on Saturday that it was going well. And then it was like, okay, it's going well. Well, it wasn't going well a week ago. So I was like, that's progress, right? If it was a week ago, we thought he's going to Newcastle. And then on Saturday, the talks are going well. Things are improving. We're feeling better about this. Usually once I start to hear that, I think it's in the bag because, they tend to be pretty cautious when I talk to people about these kinds of things. So when someone starts saying it's going well, I start to think it's going to happen eventually. I didn't expect it to be this soon. I thought they wait maybe for Bruno, his decision, then go like get it the other side of Bruno leaving or something like
Bruno's
that.
leaving.
You know what I mean?
Do you think that this? Do you think that this like kind of it doesn't impact Bruno, but does it give a bit more of an insight behind the scenes that maybe the Bruno deal is a bit further than we think?
Right.
Yes.
I kind of feel like it, but I also think, you signed him for the right 10. And Mbuemo played every minute practically last season. He's not going to be on a bench. He's not going to be rotating. So now you're talking about, at minimum, Bruno's role is changing. His position is changing. It feels a little bit different. I don't know. It feels like it might have a knock-on effect.
No Champions League. He said no to Spurs.
Arsenal.
Yeah.
Arsenal's
he said
a
no to
mad
Arsenal. Yeah.
Saying no to Arsenal and Newcastle money right now.
What you saying? We still got Paul. How we still got this?
Arsenal liked Cunha as well. In January, they were trying to move for Cunha. Like, imagine being second place trophyless for 5 years, Arsenal, and 15th place Man United is
right. I'm
sorry, 15th. How are we 15th and with no trophy, and we can say we're still Man United, and that's it, and people will still come? That's mad.
Wait. Marcel, what were you saying on this?
Look at him. He's like a proud parent.
This is good news. This is good news. Now 2 Premier League proven 10s. And I understand what James is saying as well in terms of Bruno's position kind of adapting just at the very least right now. And so you can see that we've just purchased 2 starting 10s for me. Already. I was always saying that Ahmad's the best right wing back in the world. That's gonna come into fruition. Right, so you've got him at right wing back next to him. But the only thing that I'm worrying about now is AFCON. AFCON is this year.
It don't matter. We'll deal with that.
Yeah, listen, man. We'll
deal with that
after.
Don't worry, Cameron will get
one game a week.
We just gotta get the money.
Onana will do it. Onana will make sure their men are back early, bro.
All right. No worries. So then, go on. I'm happy. I'm happy. Bring more players in. I'm was definitely with Minna's sentiment is, and the job's not done. We need at least another 4 more easily.
Yeah, I agreed. Someone just said they're spending Bruno money already. We'll talk about that. I'm just going to read the actual, because what we do forget is when Ornstein does an Ornstein Bomber, there is actually a piece that he's written, like as a journalist. We just see the headline, the exclusive way he says he's decided. But this is if you just to give the more context and to cover the news properly, because obviously we're getting excited. But obviously we are SJA winners, so we need to be proper journalists as well and deliver the actual news and the official update because we're an award-winning channel. So we need to conduct ourselves accordingly. And as of June the 2nd, 2025, updated at 8:02 p.m. GMT +1, for David Ornstein says Brian Mbuemo has decided he wants to join Manchester United, and the Old Trafford club is set to open talks with Brentford as they pursue an agreement to sign the forward this summer. Mbuemo, 25, has a year left on his contract at the GTEC Community Stadium, and it includes an option for Brentford to extend by 12 months. Last season was the Cameroon international's most productive since joining from Troyes in 2019, contributing 20 goals and 8 assists. It has attracted interest from the likes of Arsenal, Newcastle United, and Tottenham, but Mbuemo favours a switch to Man United if they can strike a deal with Brentford. Brentford head coach Thomas Frank admitted in May that the club would be open to selling this summer if an appropriate bid arrived, if the price is right, etc., etc. Then he just goes on to talk about Mbuemo and stats. So to be fair, the main bit is that Arsenal, Newcastle United, and Spurs. He had interest from, but he has chosen to come to Manchester United. The super chats are going wild. I can't remember where we. Matt, I got back to your state. I got back to your members chat, and big up to you. Dwayne says, "Hear me out." Wisser and Mbuemo, African two-man step. Raja says, "Don't you think that we? Don't you think that we would?" KG, chill. Wait. Don't you think that we would have to be in the top 10 if we would have had half decent striker instead of HOJLUND. Dan says people are assuming that the Bruno money will go towards transfers. Are people forgetting we need to pay for a new stadium? Arsenal did the same with no transfers when they moved to the Emirates. Getting a Boomo, mate. Harmon says if Bruno leaves, who would you captain? UV? Brian Mbuemo, mate. Bigger the Third says let's stop the Rasmus excuses. He's just not good. Yeah, Mbumo's better than him, mate. We're getting him. Mo says send Rasmus to WWE and Garnacho to Napoli for Osimhen. Yeah, and we're getting Mbuemo, mate, so he's better than both of them. KG's beard stylist says Marcel will make me bald with his takes. Be serious.
That's KG's beard stylist as well.
Guys, I'm too gassed.
Joe Fleming says United does this, United does that to players, whatever. Getting Mbuemo, mate. Dwayne says if Kuna flops, we're officially a black hole. We'll still have Mbuemo to count on, even if we're so I don't know. Jonathan Hammond is gifted, not 5, not 10, not 15. But
listen, you guys are gonna have to let me get to my video soon.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Everyone's gonna need to depart and just go do their stuff, which we're gonna do that in 2 seconds. Even we will have to probably have a separate thing addressing this because it's too big. Bigger First says Rasmus should have been behind a bunch of strikers. Yeah, and now he's going to be behind Brian Mbuemo, mate, so don't care. Eminem says, at least Agent Onana worked for us this time. Okay, we're now up to the present time. And Super R says, thank you, Onana. Mbuemo's bomber. Don F says, Cameroon wins again. Thanks, Onana. Dwayne says, they told me my club was dead, but we can do something. Max says, what is Barada's pitch? Kuna and now Mbuemo. Well, they said, oh, why is he talking on the postseason tour? Looks so uncomfortable. How's he bloody done that? Well, I'll tell you what, mate. 2 days later, we've got 2 players, mate. We've got 2 players. KG's beard stylist said, managerial failure. Writing that down. Have you guys thought about wrong managerial recruitment since Fergie? It is really a graveyard. Getting Mbuemo, mate. King HD says, let's go. I pray we actually sign Mbuemo. Getting him, mate. We need an extended red carpet. We've already had that, but everyone needs to kind of go and get their content done and stuff. So I'm just going to get through these and respect everyone's time because we're all content creators. There's going to be a lot going on right now. Postman says, minute on business. Always on business. K. De Niro says, Akuna Matata, please. United. And Rowan St. Louis says, I am Team KG. Let's get carried away. Ha ha. KG's beer stylist says, just do your job, Ineos, in Keen's voice. Dwayne says, what did they tell him to make up his mind? And Jasper says we can never win anything with a shit goalkeeper and left-footed wing back. We need wing backs to cross balls and the keeper to stop decent chances. United need players that can keep balls and cross it. Getting Mbuemo, mate. So yeah. Mr. Premp says, I have a dream. Cunha, Rashford, and Mbuemo's a dream. Yeah, the Rashford thing, I don't know, mate. I don't think that's going to be happening. United Love has gifted, Jesus Christ, 50 memberships. It's just going crazy. It's going off. Joe Fleming says we should teeth them from Wissa as well. Rags, go and get there you go. That'll be the KG special. That'll be it. Mbuemo's and Wissa. That's the Fleck and KG special. Shout out Aaron. Big up to you, bro. He said, who said the Man United pool died, huh? There you go, bro. Big up to you, Aaron. Hope you're well, my brother. Biggie the First said, if someone had told me 10 years ago a day would come where we would cheer a player like Mbuemo, I wouldn't have believed it. But this just feels right. C1 Chaos says, Mbuemo comfortable with teams 10 and below. Just being silly. And Gabor says, Fabrizio is not breaking anything anymore. He is busy posting about Yamal and announcing announcements. Fab's page is now a Barca and Madrid's fan page. Don't care.
I forgot I've got another show. I'm gassed.
You got boxing. Yeah. Yeah.
God.
Semex says, now we need Ailes ASAP. Sales. Yeah. It's just the way he's done it. Okay, cool.
A's next
Dwayne says a cold Brazilian and a cold Cameroonian at OT. And Tad says anyone thinking Gyökeres becomes a possibility now. Also, Chadaboy comment says boom, boom in Mbuemo every time he scores. And Kristen says, Owen, you need a Hammond soundbite. Yeah, he's been moving crazy. Aslan's gifted a membership as well. Big up to you, Aslan. Joe Fleming says if we sell Bruno, Gyökeres soon come. Watch, chill, guys. Like Mina says, we do have to bring it back down.
If we get Osimhen, guys, if we get Osimhen, you can't control me. That's all I'm saying.
100%. Jasper says my super chat wasn't read. I think I did read it whilst I was going through everything. Jasper, I do remember reading yours. Sophia says Ineos need to complete Akuna Mateta set. And the last one, finally, Shogun says, guys, we need a new keeper. It's crucial. Even if Onana stays, we need another keeper. We must. Guys, it's been a big stream. We've got to respect everyone's time. Shout out to James. Shout out to Kev. Shout out to Dev. Shout out to Minna. Shout out to Marcel. Shout out to Alice Talks Football. Shout out to Owen and KG. The comedian's already gone. You guys know what it is. Their ats and their links to their channels are all in the video description below to go and show love. So make sure you do that. Don't get excited and leave here without showing love to everybody's channels, and check out everybody's reaction vids. I'm sure people are going to be making content from this big news. So check out James's stuff, check out Minna, Dev, Marcel, wherever he may be. And of course, Alice on both channels. Alice is doing so much. Everyone's doing so much. So big up to everybody. There is a vlog on the Football Flex behind the scenes today. Me and Culture Cams at the Sky Sports Studios doing a podcast. Check that out. But also now I'm going to go and do a separate reaction to this Mbuemo news as well. So it's all going off, as somebody on United View once said. Big up, everybody. Mbuemo, talks have begun. He has decided to join Manchester United. That is your news. Enjoy your evening, Reds. It's about looking forward. The good days are coming. Peace.